Today we're going to talk about the other half of the elements art. So we're going to talk about color, we're going to talk about texture, or no, shape, and we're going to talk about space. So for starters, we'll look at the color wheel. Alright, so up here we have primary colors. Primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. They are the primary colors because these are the three colors that you can use to make any other color. Okay? When you take equal parts of two primary colors and mix them together, you get a secondary color, and that's a color that's in between them. So yellow and red make orange, red and blue make violet, and yellow and blue make green. Okay? We also have what we call intermediate colors, which are the hyphenated colors. So that would be our yellow orange, or our red orange, or red violet, blue green, yellow green. Notice the primary color is always said first because there is more of that color in it. In order to get a yellow orange, we take 3 parts yellow to 1 part red, and that gives us our yellow orange. Alright, so within color, we have what we call a tint, which is when you add white to make a color lighter, as you can see with the red here. So we add white to make a color lighter, and then in order to make a shade, we add black to make the color darker. So those just a little bit of variations on the color. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to look at is shape. And shape is an enclosed area of space that has length and width. So with this, we kind of talked about this with the previous project, but we have geometric shapes, which are shapes that are very angular and have hard edges. And then we have organic shapes, which kind of have rough edges that are kind of flow around and don't have any predetermined shape. So what Frank Lloyd Wright did with this, which is Falling Water, is he took these very geometric shapes and juxtaposed them with nature and kind of put these things so that way they stood out. He did use a lot of natural shapes in the stone in the chimneys, but he made geometric shapes out of them. Okay? And then with this, he kind of incorporated all of the geometric stuff so that way it kind of flew out into nature so that it was kind of sticking itself out. What's really neat about this is the way that the water flows as it comes underneath the patio that's right down here, so the water literally flows under your feet while you're sitting out on the porch. So the next one we have is the Peacock Room, which was done in 1876. So back in the day, if you were rich and wealthy, this is what your rooms looked like. So if you look at the peacocks that are on the walls here, they're very ornate. There's lots of little curved lines, lots of organic shapes to them. Take those and put them next to the very rigid the rectangles of the bookcases, and it makes it very interesting in that regard. Then we have the ceiling that has the pattern up there, and you get even the geometric shapes here. They kind of flow a little bit and curve, kind of create a little bit of an organic look to it, but for the most part they are very, very rigid. Okay, and then we're going to talk about space. So this is the Robert Shaw Memorial, and Robert Shaw is the guy that's right here on the horse. With space, what we're trying ultimately to do is to try to show depth. So with this, we've got 1, 2, 3, there's 4 or 5 soldiers behind the horse. So if we think of how wide your shoulders are, we're looking at about 10 to 15 feet worth of actual space that we're trying to represent, and something that's probably about 1.5 feet deep, maybe 2. So we're using overlap in order to create that appearance of depth, of a lot of space that is a lot deeper than what it really is. And then the last thing that we're going to look at is the county election. And with the county election, we're using several different things in order to show our perspective. Okay? So we are using overlap like we had in the previous one, because these people are obviously they're overlapping and they go further back in space. But we're using perspective. We're using atmospheric perspective and just regular 1-point perspective.